Right. お願いします。
お願いします。
Hey, so that's right. Hey, your shoulder. Circles one way. Circles the other way. Arms. Back. Side. Stretch the other side. Cross one side. And the other side. Open and close. And your spine. So breathing in. And curving, breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Hands up and forward. Keep your eyes, up, head up, eye level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relax. So, again, forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. One more. Right, forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. So, eyes are. Big hand tight. Yoho. Benji. Yoko. Hey, deep breathing. Breathing in. Out. Breathing in. Out. More breathing in. Breathing out. Out. Down. Hey, your knees from the back. And circles one way. Circles the other way. Your toes. So, breathing in, breathing out. Here, go. Time, here, go. Legs, lower your body, knees, elbows pushing knees out. You keep your head up as much as possible. Open to one side. And the other side. On your toes, keeping your head up. Raising your hips. And your spine starting to come up. Vertebra by vertebra. Shoulders, right last thing to get up. And circles. So one more time, lowering. Elbows in, knees out, head up. Opening one side. Middle. The other side. Again. Now your toes, head up. Raise your hips. Coming through your spine. Shoulders and hips. With your legs and side to side. lowering one side and lowering the other side. Toes up one side, toes up the other side. Same thing. This time also put down your knee and sit. Try to keep your chest out and your head up. And the other side. Down, knee down, sit. Hey, open your legs. That goes down, go down. So coming forward. And pushing back. Forward again. Toes, hips up. Push into your toes, into your spine, until you get into plank position. You're going to engage your core, roll your shoulders forward, keep your core engaged and hold. Slowly now push your hips down. One more time, hips up. And push into your toes, into your spine, waving your spine into plank position. Engage core muscles. Roll your shoulders, hold. And slowly hips down. One more time, hips up. And push into your toes, waving your spine. Plank position. Engage core, roll shoulders, hold. And hips down. And hips back. Hey, side to side. Side, side, side. That's right. Hey, if you look at me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right up to your knees. 1, and knee for your flexors. 2, 3, 4. Remember when doing warm up ukemi, you may shoot your leg a little bit further than what normally you should. Okay, the placement of the leg is very important for an actual ukemi when you get up, because the leg position is where your body is going to transfer. So that's going to be your structural point, right? So normally in an ukemi, this leg should be quite in the middle where it provides the strongest support. If it's on the front, it's too far, so your knee is weak. If it's too close, your knee is weak forward, outside too much, inside too much. So you have to have more or less in the middle, where is the best support. If your knee is, if you have some knee condition, that's for example when eventually when you raise yourself and come up. So, but that depends on on this leg being in the right position to carry the load that is to come, which is the transfer of weight when you come forward or when you go up. But in warming up, you know, you can shoot it a little bit forward because you're going to kind of use it as an excuse to extend that hip flexor. So, you know, in normal ukemi, your leg should not be shooting that forward because you need it to carry the load that is to come. But in warming up, you can shoot it a little bit lower or further if you're practicing to move your hips forward as a way of using your hip flexor. So just remember that distinction between doing this exercise for actually getting up and doing this exercise to warm up your hip flexors, okay? So let's do it again, and remember, shoot forward a little bit, but keep it, you know, so you notice you move your hip flexor. 1, shooting forward, 2, forward, 3, 4, 4, 4. Now from that, you go forward, and now you do the opposite. You sit backwards, and staying again. Now you're working on your hamstring a little bit, and sideways roll. So you shoot forward. Now you sit backwards, sit up, and open your hamstring a little bit, and sideways roll. Okay, shoot forward, and go back, sit a little bit into your hamstring. Sideways roll, forward, back, a bit on your hamstring, okay, and sideways. Forward, foot flexor, back, hip hamstring, and go. Forward, hip flexor, back into hamstring, and go. All right, next one, like core exercise / front roll preparation. So remember, feet side to side, and hold, okay, keep your spine neutral, okay, holding from that position. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time, tuck your arm in the same direction of the leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming, use again, forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tucking. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Change to the side. Extend forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tuck. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tuck. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right. Let's keep moving because these classes always go very quickly. So, during the week, the month, we've been talking about certain rules or certain ideas that underpin or can help us to make our techniques better. It's just very important to remember that in Aikido we have what we've been talking about, our kind of main principles, you know. For example, our apex principle of harmony, which is what underpins everything that follows below in our Aikido practice. And then there are other important principles such as leverage, efficiency, you know, connections, and so on. We also have the 16 elements that are very important for technique. They are fundamental for technique that Moreno Sensei you know, teaches us, like Sen-no-sen, Tai Sabaki, Kokyu, etc. And then we have certain reminders, which is what we've been kind of playing with in this month. And we've been playing with 4, but let's see if we can remember at least 3 this morning. Okay. Number 1 is the one of the rule of the joint above. Okay, which is the idea that when we start training, okay, when I start training, whatever part of the body I grab, my mind naturally goes to that part, you know, because that's what I'm touching. But ideally, as I progress training, my mind should try to climb at least one more joint. So if I'm grabbing here, Kurt's wrist, I should not really so much focusing on the wrist, but maybe focusing on the elbow. And then eventually, when I mature a bit more, I don't want to be focusing on the elbow, but focusing on the shoulder. And then eventually, maybe focusing on his hip, and so on. So I am passing my level of awareness every time just one little joint above, to kind of control, or make my presence felt through a series of joints as opposed to just to the point of contact. So that's number one thing. We're going to start with Shikonage, for example, and Shikonage Ura. So Shikonage Ura, in our basic form, I'm going to grab Kurt's hand, I'm going to turn. Because I have Kurt's hand, typically I focus on his hand. And I go like, well, that's the hand, that's the hand, that's the hand, and then I do my thing. But the joint above from Shikonage is not the wrist, it's the elbow. So what I'm going to try to keep in front of me is going to be the elbow. If I succeed keeping the elbow in front of me, then I have climbed one more joint. What least should be the hand. So there's nothing wrong with keeping the hand in front. That's the minimum. If I don't have it in the hand, I have nothing really in the technique. But if I can climb one more, then I have now the elbow. And if the elbow is in front of me, then that's a better option. Okay. So the joint above is here, and I'm going to use elbow, and alright. So just to practice a little bit of the joint above. Okay. Yeah. Let's just practice out by ourselves. Okay. So in Ikkyo, let's try to move, not so much the wrist, but let's try to move the elbow. And coming down. Out, focus on the elbow. Coming down. Down, focus on the elbow. Coming down. Now focus on the elbow. Coming down. Now this time, focus on the shoulder. Coming down. Focus on the shoulder. Coming down. Focus on the shoulder. Start the shoulder. The elbow. Focus on the shoulder. Down. Focus on the shoulder. Down. Now next one. Focus on the hip. Down. Focus on the hip. Down. Focus on the inside hip. Down. Focus on the inside hip. Down. This time, focus on the spine. Down. Focus on the spine. Down. Spine. Down. Spine. Down. So as you can see, we can kind of climb our level of awareness to different parts of our body. And I didn't start by doing the wrist because I think, especially in Ikkyo, is to not really that relevant. But you can start climbing the level of awareness, from one part of the body to another part of the body. What happens is, once again, I did Shikonage, but in Ikkyo, for example, the part of the body that we typically focus on will be the wrist and the elbow. So these are the ports of contact. That's the wrist, that's the elbow. So it's okay. I can just focus on these two and then try to manipulate him. But ideally, if this is touching the elbow, my next joint above will be the shoulder. So ideally, I should be trying to manipulate the shoulder, to bring this person down. So, and then again, as I progress, maybe I'm not trying to focus so much on the shoulder, I'm trying to focus on his hip, and bring him down. And eventually do what Moreno-sensei asks us to do, which is to focus on moving the spine of the person, and so on. So that's number one. One reminder we need to have is to have the joint above. It's a difficult thing because again, naturally, whatever we grab, our mind will just get sucked into that, and then that's whatever 1% or 0.5% of my body, and then my mind will forget the rest of my body. So it's an important exercise to always say, well, at least one more joint, which is the next joint that I can move. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, number two rule that we've been practicing on is the idea of our hips, always operating somewhere between 60 and 80%. Never, completely high, but somewhere 60, maybe 90% of our movement. Okay, when I was say when he enters in Shikonage, for example, Ura, he always reminds lower center of gravity. Lowering center of gravity. So he's not all the way high up. He's already somewhere within 90%, And then he says lower center of gravity, which means he drops to, I don't know, 60%. And then from there, he goes high. Okay? So remember, we start in about 90%, lower even more, enter. And so we have center of gravity 90%, lower even more, so. Okay, thank you. So this idea is the idea of being aware and familiar with the different levels of my dropping, okay, the center of gravity, how high or how low it is. So let's start with the worst of all possibilities. Worst of all possibilities is to be completely high up and with your knees locked. So that's the worst of the possibilities, right? So your hip is all the way up as up as it can be, and your knees are locked. So that never exists. Well, sadly, it does exist, but it should never exist. So that's the worst of possibilities. Knees locked, center of gravity all the way up. To fix this, at least let's unlock the knees. Boom. So the knees are unlocked. My center of gravity hasn't really dropped. It's just that my knees, instead of being back and locked, now they are at least unlocked. So at least they're unlocked. So that's number one. Number two, that's 100% center of gravity. Let's drop to 90%. Actually, let's do one thing first. That's, 100% up. Whatever is yours, drop as much as you can. Now, each of us will have a different range for how much can we drop. Some of us may just be able to drop from this 100% to, let's say, here, because our hips cannot do more. That's fine. So that's 100, and that is 0. That's what it is. That's the condition we have. So, but just try now from 100% up with knees unlocked, drop all the way you can. So, all the way up. And find all the way, find your range. How much range do you have? Now, because we are standing up, this is not 100% drop. 100% drop is basically Newasa. 100% drop is if my hip is touching the ground, which that can only happen when I am in a position such as this, when I am fully touching the ground. So this is not even 100% down. This is possibly, 80% down, right? So all the way up, wherever I am, find your range as low as you can within your standing position. Now, find the point in between. Somewhere between here and all the way there is 50%. Somewhere between here and all the way there is 50%. Somewhere between here, 100, and all the way here, there is 50%. Somewhere. Now, within that 50%, there is 60 to 90%. Right? 60 to 90%. Somewhere there, 60 to 90%. That is the area where we should mostly live. It sucks. It's a very uncomfortable area, but that's the area that we have to train. Okay, so the area that we have to train is not 100%. Okay, it's very, very difficult to live all the time in, let's say, 50%, which would be a really good horse stance. But 60 to 90, 60 to 90, 60 to 90, 60 to 90. So whenever we are in technique, try to see where am I living, 60 to 90, 60 to 90. And some techniques will require us lower, like for example, Nikyu, boom, it requires us almost 50%, but at least 60 to 90, 60 to 90, okay? So let's just ride 60 to 90 wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, and rest. Okay, so that is your 60 to 90 space. Okay, and within this 60 to 90 is where we have to live. When we have a person in front, we lower ourselves. That's my 100%. I want to be in technique. I lower myself to somewhere between 60 to 90. I apply, boom, enter, move. My hip should be again. So all the time that we do technique must be somewhere there. The higher we are, the weaker our structure it is, all the way to high and lock knees. That's hopeless. That's hopeless structure. That structure has no chance because it's completely high, the knees locked. That's the structure that people can push with one finger because there's nothing in there. All right, so the structure that has the most chance to move is the structure where this jigotai exists, okay, and where this awareness kind of exists, you know, so pay attention about that. All right, so the last one that we move, so joint above, okay, 60 to 90. Where is that range for you? And again, that changes for all of us. That's why I didn't say lower here or lower there. So you just need to find out what is your range first, okay? And then within that range, work in the 60 to 90% of that range, okay? That's going to be very different for different people. So that's number two. Number three, okay, is possibly one of the ones that was giving us the most grief, is the idea of the leading and the enforcer hand. Again, let's look at that. Let's do a multi this time so people can see. Typically in Shihonage, you know, this hand is controlled, that hand. And I know that I have to start moving with this hand. I know that this hand starts leading the movement. I know that that hand starts leading the movement. Now what happens with the second hand is at some point the second hand grabs. Typically what happens is when this hand grabs, this hand goes to sleep. It's almost like it's an on and off situation. It's leading, the other one grabbing. This one, as soon as this one grabs, this one kind of disappears, right? This grab, and this one disappears. What should really happen is that this is leading, this is grabbing, and this one continue leading all the way into the moment. Okay? So this is leading, this is grabbing, and this one continues leading. During the weekly practice from Hami Handachi. From Hami Handachi, you know, we practice this one. We move, and he moves around me. This is the way. Sure. Go. And okay. So Hami Handachi. This hand raises, this one grabs. Hands up. And so what happens in that Hami Handachi is the same thing. This hand is leading. This hand is pulling, this hand is kind of enforcing the movement, right? But if this hand stops leading, the enforcer loses a lot of its capacity. The only reason why that happens, that technique has better chance of working, is if the leading hand continues leading, while the other hand enforces. So, leading hand, enforcer hand. Leading hand, enforcer hand. So, okay. So, okay, this time, Shikonage Ura. Okay, so hand out. That's going to be your leading hand. Second hand on top, close that fist. And also that's going to be your grabbing hand. But as soon as you close your fist, make sure that the other thing doesn't disconnect. As soon as you close your fist, make sure that the other one remains alive. So hand out, leading. Second one, grabbing, closing fist. Lower your center of gravity. Pivot, Shikonage, cut. Okay. One more time. Hand out, leading hand. Second hand grabbing, closing fist. Lower your center of gravity. Turning, Shikonage, down. Then one hand out, leading. Second hand on top, grabbing. Which is the leading hand is still awake. Lower center of gravity. Turn, pivot, and cut. One time, hand out, leading. Second hand, grabbing. Close fist. Lower center of gravity. Turn, pivot, and alright. So those three ideas are the three ideas that we've been working with for the last month, or plus a couple of other things, but those three are very important. Your joint above, which part of the hand, which part of your body or your partner's body are you grabbing, and how much is your awareness going to that spot? That awareness climb at least one more spot. Can the awareness climb from there to a little bit somewhere else? Okay, that's number one. Number two, how high are you when we are practicing your techniques? You know, Jigotai, which is basically is one of the principles of sensei. Jigotai, how high are you? Are you completely high up, completely locked? Terrible idea. Okay, at least are you unlocked? Better idea. Much better idea is that you are working somewhere between 60 and 90% of your dropping. And number three is when you are using your hands, are both hands, regardless of their function, are both hands always active? Are both hands always active? Or if one is active, then the other one takes over one, and then this one goes to sleep. Okay, it's one active, the other one takes over one, and then this one goes to sleep. What's the role, you know, of your two hands when you are practicing? But both hands equally active. Is one hand leading the movement, while the other hand is enforcing the movement? And that's possibly the best combination. Okay, so try to keep those three things in mind for practice, and see how they work in general. Let's finish off with Funako, please. Okay, left foot in front. Hey, hands in front. Each. Yee, ho, 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 yee, ho. Hey, right foot. Yitsa, 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 yitsa. Go. Is, for example, Furutama. When you do Furutama, it's a really good moment to remind yourselves how is your knees. You know, your knees unlocked, and then you're doing Furutama, feeling the bounciness and the string of the knees, where your hip completely up, your knees locked, and then you're just basically shaking only your arms. So that's one of the moments when we have to remind ourselves to unlock the knees and then allow the energy of Furutama sink in our whole body. Okay, let's finish up. Hey! Hey!
Oh, I got to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.